Hello guys, welcome to Cartooning with Paul. Today I'm going to share with you my top 10 book recommendations for any serious illustrator or cartoonist. So come on, let's get started. Hello guys, welcome back. We're living in a kind of weird time right now, right? We're all staying indoors. We're trying to keep distance from others so that we can help stop the spread of this horrible virus going on and wreaking havoc all over the world right now. But what better way to pass the time than to connect with our family, right? And dive our efforts into our artwork. So I thought right now would be a great time to share with you the top 10 books in my personal library that maybe you might be interested in adding to yours. So I'm going to put Amazon links of each and every one of these books in the description. So let's dive in on a strong note. I'm going to give you my favorite book that I have ever owned. This is called The Illusion of Life. It is the animator's Bible. It's written by two of Disney's legendary animators, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. Now, don't be afraid that you're not interested in animation, so this book wouldn't be of any use to you, because while they do go over animation principles, they further go into composition, they go into storyboarding, they go into gesture drawing. This book is a treasure trove of great information that every and any illustrator would benefit from checking out. The stories and anecdotes in this book are just amazing, but so are the great ideas that you can pull from some of these drawings. I'll tell you, this book is vital for anybody who's really serious about learning how to draw. Now, the next book I want to share with you is a new book in my library, but it's a favorite already. It's called The 9 Old Men. It's written by legendary animator Andreas Deja, who's a personal favorite of mine. This is a book written about the legendary animators that used to work with Walt Disney on all the classic animated features. Now, in this book, he gives a lot of great anecdotal stories about some of our favorite animators, but he also shares all kinds of amazing artwork. There are great stories from everything from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs all the way into The Fox and the Hound. This book right here really tells a great story of all of these different legendary animators and where they came from, what their thought processes were, and how they were able to solve problems that we take for granted when we watch these films. This book is by far a must-have in any serious cartoonist or illustrator's library. All right, guys, well, this next book may throw you off a little bit. It's not about Disney. This is about the other legendary studio that brought a lot of the great animation into our living rooms. This is all about Warner Brothers Animation. It's called That's All, Folks. Now, in this book, just like the others, it gives a lot of great stories on how the animators and how the storytellers came up with a lot of their best gags, how they came up with the storylines, the process in which they blue skied into a lot of the great cartoons that we have always enjoyed. But this will help you appreciate it even more. The stories about Robert McKimson or Fritz Freeling and Chuck Jones. You know, this is one of my favorite cartoons right here. This is Duck Amuck. It's an amazing Chuck Jones cartoon. This book is absolutely essential if you're really looking to dive into funnier animation. So this book I highly recommend you add to your library because it is just amazingness. Now, you may or may not notice I'm kind of organizing these books in a certain progression. The next book I have to show you is one of those art of books. You know, Disney started putting those out back in the mid-90s, and I've been collecting them ever since. The art of books for their films are just absolutely gorgeous. They've got some great stories. They tell you how they came up with the story, what the story challenges were, and the progression from the very early Blue Sky into the stories that we know. Now, guys might be thinking, yeah, this is one of the girl princess movies. Yeah, but look at the artwork in this. This right here, whenever I'm having a hard time with a gesture pose, this book is perfect. This will give you enough inspiration where you can easily start to redraw your sketches into some really, really evocative posing. I mean, look at these sketches here. These are done by Glenn Keane, who was a director of this film. It's just absolutely fascinating how they came up with certain ideas here. These sketches you'll never see anywhere else than in this book. Anyway, this book, a must-have for anybody who's really looking for some inspiration on some great gestures. Now, while there is not an art of book by Disney that I wouldn't recommend, I highly recommend the Frozen book. Just like Tangled, this will help you out with a lot of gesture drawings, but the story and the evolution of this film is fascinating. But in this book, just like the other, they go over a lot of excellent design ideas. They go over a lot of the ways that they designed things like the water and the ice and all of the fractals of the snowflakes. And this book is a treasure trove of awesome story on the evolution of this film. Anyway, this book is absolutely gorgeous, and I highly recommend it. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I'm into superheroes. I love superheroes. Marvel is great. The parent company owns it, right? But I really gravitate toward the DC figures. So when Batman the Animated Series came out in the early 90s, I was transfixed. This book, Batman Animated, which is written by Paul Dini, who created Harley Quinn. This book is the quintessential piece of reference for Batman the Animated Series. So this book not only has design sketches, it has renderings of some of the backgrounds, and it'll give you a lot of concept art. It shares with you some of the scripts, but it is just a gorgeously put together book that celebrates all of the Batman Animated Series. From the pilot all the way to the end of the series, this book shows you everything. Now, this book was out of print back in 1999. You can still find it here and there. This book is available, and if you can find it at a good price, I would snag it immediately. So this book is a must-have for any Batman animated fan. Okay, so you've drawn a Disney character, you've drawn a Batman superhero, you need to draw a background. Well, if you're having trouble with perspective, this book, Basic Perspective Drawing, is one of my old college books. This book is perfect. It will tell you exactly what you need to do to fix whatever perspective issue you're having in your drawing backgrounds. This book will take you from a novice into a professional in no time. It'll help you out with every issue you will have in drawing in perspective. This book is the only book I need for my perspective drawing because it is that good. So I highly recommend everybody getting their hands on this book on perspective drawing. Again, it's called Basic Perspective Drawing. Highly, highly recommended. So while we're going over my college books, I've got another one that you have to have. It is the Atlas of Human Anatomy for the Artist. This book breaks down human anatomy into their basic shapes. It goes over all kinds of different posing. It goes over all of your anatomy. And this book will help you out in learning anatomy in no time. Check out these quick rough sketches to show you how the fingers move. It shows you all of the ways they bend, the different perspectives, right? It'll take you from the bones to the flesh, and it really is an incredibly helpful book. This book is a must-have for anybody serious about drawing a decent piece of anatomy. So now that you've got your book on anatomy, you need to be able to pose them in a dynamic way, right? Dynamic posing right here. This is Dynamic Figure Drawing. It's a terrific book that I picked up years ago. This book will take you through all of those poses that will help you draw a decent looking character in motion. This book will help you figure out exactly how to lunge a character forward, how to make them look like they're actually running, how they're actually lifting something heavy. They're going to put you in poses that you didn't think you were able to draw. Well, this book right here is the answer to your prayers when it comes to dynamic figure drawing. So I highly recommend picking this book up right here. Now this next book is another visual reference that helps you with posing. It's called The Virtual Pose. And in this book, it actually comes with a CD-ROM that's Mac and PC enabled. But this right here will help you with all kinds of different posing. It'll help you with a little bit more of the realistic poses instead of just having to worry about all the dynamics. Now this book is really intended for the more mature artist, so you know, if you're a parent looking to buy for a child, maybe this book isn't quite for them yet. It does deal with nude models, so just so you know that right off the bat. And the final book in this list is one that is important for learning light and shadow, light sources, for the realistic looking rendering or painting. This one right here, Color and Light. This book right here is written by James Gurney, and it will go over color swatches and color theory. It'll help you kind of figure out exactly how to come up with the perfect coloring, the perfect lighting, the perfect light sources, shadowing, shading, everything is just done beautifully in this book. And I highly recommend, if you're really looking to push a realistic tone to your artwork, this one is a great reference, and it has taught me many a thing about how to really push color. So there you go, guys. Those are my top 10 recommendations for any serious artist library. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and let's stop the spread of this virus together, okay? Until the next video, I'll see you later.